Welcome to Brice's Beats Music Info YouTube channel today. On YouTube today we'll be talking about the iconic music legacy of Rush. Rush was formed in Toronto, Canada in 1968. Their classic lineup is Geddy Lee, Neil Peart, and Alex Lifeson. The musical styles combined of hard rock, progressive rock with heavy use of synthesizers. Rush's chart-topping records were Moving Pictures, Permanent Ways, Hemispheres, A Farewell to the Kings, 2112, Fly By Night. Their biggest hits are Tom Sawyer, The Spirit of the Radio, Close to the Heart, Limelight, Fly By Night, YYZ, Working Man, The Trees, Subdivision, Big Money, Rare Barracuda, and Time Stands Still. Rush has sold total album sales over 42 million, 17 platinum albums. Rush was nominated for 7 Grammy Awards. Rush is considered to be one of the greatest rock bands of all time. Rush was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2013. Sadly, Rush's longtime drummer Neil Peart died of glioblastoma, a really aggressive form of brain cancer, on January 7, 2020. In October 2025, Lifeson and Lee announced 2026 and 2027 reunion tour as Rush, with Anakin Niels filling in for the drummer, and Lorraine Ford as the band's keyboardist for the tour. So Rush has come back. I really have enjoyed talking about that. That was a lot of information I told you about it. Did a lot of research, and I always do a lot of research and facts to put on my paper for all these Brice's Beats, all these Brice's Beats videos I've been doing. And really, Rush is such an iconic music band. They are. It's one of the greatest bands of all time, like I just said on that. And what makes Rush, what also is not written on this paper, and I'd like to talk to you about Rush, is Rush is the great of the greats. A lot of rock bands later on said that Rush was their biggest influence. Tons of rock bands have said that over the past decades and generations of music, in my opinion. And another really great thing about Rush is not just Neil Peart was a great, iconic drummer for the band, just Alex Lifeson was a great guitar player, and Geddy Lee, his great high vocal and his great electric bass guitar playing was outstanding, just really outstanding. It's really just a great thing. And I have definitely enjoyed talking about the iconic music legacy of the great Rush. It's just been a fun time talking about it. Another thing I want to mention to you about Rush is that I've watched a Rush documentary before called Beyond the Line Stage. Check it out after this video. Check out Rush's documentary video, Behind the Line Stage. It's a great documentary about the whole band and what they all went through. But when Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin listened to Rush, he said that's a Canada. And I can't. His comment was that he said he thought he was listening to a Canada version of Led Zeppelin, because they kind of sound like Led Zeppelin, because just like not really like Led Zeppelin, but they kind of sound like the Canada version of Led Zeppelin. What Robert Plant said when he first ever listened to Rush, when they started kind of getting on the music scene, starting doing a lot of big stuff and big tours and all that. And another thing about Rush is just the music production, just great lyrics, just great. They put a lot of themes in their songs, and really unusual, kind of quirky, kind of weird themes in their songs, and just a great philosophical lyric. Their lyrics are phenomenal. Not just the music part, but their lyrics are just great phenomenalism of just Tom Sawyer and just all of them. And let me just tell you, Geddy Lee is a great synthesizer keyboard player, because he did not just do bass guitar for Rush. He was the main person that did the synthesizer parts and keyboard parts in every classic Rush song you've ever listened to. It's really just great, and just phenomenal in many ways. And really, Rush is my top favorite classic rock band of all time. They've got to be my top favorite classic rock band of all time, just really. And I tell you this, that I always thought Rush was a really special rock band and a because they're very different from any other rock band you would listen to, of all the rock bands you can listen to, is they just have a different rock sound to them. It's kind of very heavy, hard rock driven, with kind of some experimental rock music, but that's called progressive rock. It's a very great music genre. And really, Rush is they're just phenomenal. Just check out some of their songs. If people in this video don't know who Rush is, who I'm talking about, check up all their songs. They're just great. Great classic rock tracks with just great sound and rhythm and just great drumming and just great all the around, really. And honestly, the greatness of Rush is what made their band so good. And how would I say it? I'm just glad they got inducted Rock and Roll Hall of Fame finally. I'm glad they finally got that recognition back several years ago. I'm glad, because they needed that recognition. It was so good I'm so glad they got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And really, there's a lot of greatness with Rush. Man, I could just talk about Rush. They're so good. I can tell you another person that can also talk about Rush, why he thought that. I tell you another big fan of Rush that could talk his head off about Rush and why they're so good is my next door neighbor, because I'm in my backyard doing the video, but my next door neighbor that's next door to me, Kevin Baumgartner, he could talk to you why he likes Rush so much. I should have gotten him on this video because I know he's a big fan of Rush. But really, in fact, Rush is just great. Just really, really great. What can I say? They're great. And all these past Brice's Beats videos, I've always mentioned this. I'm going to mention this video too. It's just, you probably could do music theory on each Rush song and track and just talk about it, and probably break all the songs down and just do some music theory discussion on it. You can really do that, honestly. And it's just been so good and just so great in many ways. One of my favorite songs by Rush is, let me see. It's Tom Sawyer, that little drum. And my mate, the mean sire. Today's Tom Sawyer, mean. And really, that is just what Rush is. They know how to make a great classic rock song, and they outdo themselves every time they do it. And the last album they did before Neil Peart's passing was in 2012 or 2013 called Clockwork Angels. That was the last album they did it. That was the last classic Rush. They did that in 2013. That was the last Rush album you had Neil Peart on the drum, because that was way before he passed away. They actually recorded that album in Blackbird Studio, actually. The last Rush album, Clockwork Angels, because I've toured that Blackbird Studio with my music professor in my music class, and they said they used that studio to record Clockwork Angels at Blackbird Studio, I think, in Nashville. So I think that's true. I hope. But Rush, I'm glad I'm finally talking about Rush. They're just all around just so good, and not many people knew that they were from Canada, Toronto. I bet a lot of people knew it, but I bet not many people knew that they were formed in the late 60s, because people are like, or were they formed in the 70s? Well, they actually got their start and they formation in the late 1968, which I was shocked with that, because there's some facts on here I knew about Rush, and there's some facts I didn't know about Rush. So that was really neat to know some facts you knew and didn't know about the band Rush. And really, it has just been fun doing these Brice's Beats videos. I'm glad y'all tuned in. Every weekend I've been doing them. I did take a break, not last week. I did take a 1 weekend break a few weeks ago, but it has just been fun talking about Rush today. And the last weekend I did a Michael Jackson edition. So I'll tell you my review of Michael. Michael, I'm not going to spoil anything for y'all, but if you're a big music buff and history buff, go see Michael. It is highly recommended. That's probably one of the best biopic music movies I have seen ever. It's just really good, well done, acting, great cast, choices, phenomenal. Go see it. I probably will see it again soon in a couple of weeks. Who knows? But I saw it last weekend, and I thought it was highly recommended, and I just walked out of that theater with a smile on my face, and I thought that was a job well done on that movie. It was great. That's probably the best music biopic I have seen so far. That's probably one of my favorite biopics of a music singer I have seen so far, Michael Jackson. It's great. Jafar Jackson does a killer performance. I was going to let y'all know about Michael this coming week, this coming weekend's video, because I told y'all last weekend I was going to give you a short little review about it, what I thought, and I thought it's highly recommended. Go see it. You won't be disappointed. I won't spoil anything for you, but it is great. If you're a music history buff fan like me, go see it. It's worth your while, and I cannot wait to see Michael again. It is 10 out of 10. It was great. It was the best ever, the best biopic music movie I've ever seen. So back to discussion about Rush. The last thing I'll say about Rush is that they are probably as good as any other experimental rock band, like Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Yes Band. Who's another great experimental rock band? Styx. They're good as Styx, in my opinion. And I love Styx, but they are as good as Styx. But Styx is different Styx is a different type of experimental rock, and even Rush is a different type of experimental rock. And another Rush, I call Subdivisions. It goes dun 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 dun. Subdivisions. I've enjoyed talking about the Brice's Beats edition of the music legacy of Rush, and just talking about and giving y'all a short review of Michael. I enjoyed that too, doing that in this video, in this Brice's Beats music info YouTube video today too. Thank y'all for tuning in today. It's been a joy doing it. It was such nice weather today. It's like I'm going to do it outside like I did last week, because last weekend was great weather, and this weekend has been incredible weather. I will tune y'all into next weekend. So I'll thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for tuning in to Brice's Beats every Saturday. Thank y'all from the bottom of my heart. I've enjoyed doing this since I started this last August. I've been doing it for like a whole year. So it's been fun, and more exciting videos coming your way. I've enjoyed talking about Rush. It's one of my favorite rock bands. I'm glad I finally got to and finally had a joy to talk about it in Brice's Beats Music Info YouTube channel. So next weekend, we're going to be talking about this upcoming next weekend. We're going to be talking about one of my favorite vocal, one of my favorite 80s piano player. That he's underrated. He's a great vocalist, but he's underrated for his piano playing. It's not Billy Joe. This coming weekend, we'll be talking about Bruce Hornsby and the Range music legacy this upcoming weekend. So tune in for that. Thank y'all for tuning in for Brice's Beats, Rush's iconic music legacy. I'll see y'all next weekend. Thank y'all for tuning in today.